So first off, I'm grabbing some rhubarb, and I rinsed it and I patted it dry. You want very little water in any kind of infusion you ever do. Whether it's, an olive oil infusion, vinegar infusion, alcohol infusion, water carries lots of germs. So you want to try and keep things as dry as possible. So if you ever do an infusion with herbs and you rinse them, let them sit on a paper towel for a few hours so that the water just kind of air out. Don't let them sit out too long, or else all those oils are going to dry out too. So you want them as dry as possible, but you also want them nice and clean. So I've got three sticks of rhubarb, and I'm going to chop it up, and I'm going to have a mason jar here shortly. I'll show you what to do. My rhubarb's all chopped up, just roughly. And then I've got my lavender. And in the book I talk about the different kinds of lavender, because there's actually English and French, and they're different. And I have dried here. If it were summer, believe me, I would have fresh, pretty lavender for you. But as it is a gloomy February, we're going to stick with the dry. And the dry is fine. All right. Okay. Jar, rhubarb. We're going to put our rhubarb in the jar. And like I said, sorry, it's hard to do this and tape me doing it and talk to you. Okay. So you can put anything in this jar. In fact, if you go to the blog, I made a Galliano-esque infusion where I pretty much foraged in my garden, and I put in yarrow, chamomile, what else? Lavender flowers, fresh and dried, anise, and then citruses and some spices, and I got pretty close to the Galliano. Not exact, but pretty close. So you put lots and lots of things in here, and this again is really great for being kind of a mixologist, creating different cocktails. This is what you would use this for. Now, once you fill it up with all your goodies, you're going to store it on your counter for about 2 weeks. Shake it up every once in a while. Make sure it's not getting any direct sunlight. Make sure it's not anywhere hot where it's like close to the oven or something strange like that. So I've got this filled, and I've got my lavender. Too bad YouTube doesn't have smell-o-vision. It's so pretty. Anyway, so this is about a 32-ounce jar. So I'm going to put in one big, maybe a little bit more. I honestly, when I do my infusions, I don't do that much measuring. Kind of just, I don't know, I get all kitchen witchy and I just throw stuff in there. But, so as you can see, you got your lavender, you got your rhubarb, and we're going to fill it up with vodka. And lavender, it's kind of a polarizing floral. My husband actually doesn't care for it. He thinks he's eating, I don't know, potpourri in his cookies or something. I think the use in modern day kitchens, it's just kind of weird. I think we all are used to having lavender in our bath salts. I don't think our culture now is used to having lavender in desserts, cookies, things like that. Obviously, if you're in France, you'd be very, very used to having lavender and things. But I do think that there's definitely a revival going on with edible florals, especially if you kind of roam around Pinterest a lot. There's a lot of people definitely experimenting with like rose hips again, and rose and lavender and marigold and all those edible florals, which if you want to start dabbling, I do touch on that in my ebook. So without further ado, let's get this good stuff in here. You're going to fill it to the top. You're going to try to cover all the organic material because it keeps things preserved that way. And quickly cover it. And give it a good shake. Now, This is going to sit on my counter for 2 weeks. Then what we're going to do is strain it and bottle it. Now, if I wanted to, I could create a simple syrup at that time, mix it all up, and then bottle it as a liqueur with the sugary simple syrup with it. However, I think I'm going to be using this more as a mix, to be a mixologist. So at that point, you kind of want to mix your simple syrup separately as you make your cocktails. So we're going to keep this kind of basic with just the vodka and the ingredients. So like I said, keep it on your counter, shake it up every once in a while. After 2 weeks, strain it and bottle it up in a nice little bottle, and it will stay for quite a while. Here is the rhubarb lavender infusion after 2 weeks, and you can see the lavender has lost a lot of its color, and same with that rhubarb. And the color and that flavor has all just gotten infused into the vodka. What I have on hand: a clean mason jar, a funnel, a fine mesh sieve, and some cheesecloth. So I've got everything out, and I'm going to do a first straining. You know what I'm missing here is a bowl. So I'm going to need a bowl to put under the sieve. And it goes. Wow, that rhubarb really gave a lot of good stuff there. So shake it, let it drip, then use a spoon to kind of press this all down to get as much juice out as possible. I'm going to go grab a spoon right now. I'll be back. So I take the sieve, I rinse it out, and I put it in a new bowl. And you can see here, there's still some stuff in there that you don't necessarily want in your cocktails. So next step is to take this sieve again, and we're going to line it with some cheesecloth, which we're going to do right now. And you can see it's already catching lots of stuff that had you just gone with the first pass, you would have missed. So I'm going to need 2 hands for the rest of this, because what you're going to want to do is lift up the sieve. You don't want the sieve to be sitting in there. You need it to do its job. So you kind of need to lift your sieve up as you're pouring. So I'm going to have to, I don't have anybody to videotape me today again, so I'm going to have to just put this down for a sec, and then I'll show you what I have at the end. I'm going to put a paper towel underneath so I don't make a mess. And this is where your funnel comes in. And you've got your twice strained infusion. You're going to slowly pour this into a clean, sterilized if you want, though, I don't know, the alcohol is its own preservative, so you have most of the organic matter out of there, so should be fine. Seal it up. And there's rhubarb lavender infusion. So this can keep for a while. Just make sure you label it and date it, and you know, mix it up with some simple syrups and some gin or some other things, and enjoy. Now on to the next technique. Simple syrup is pretty much a mainstay of mixologists. You need a little bit of sweet to go into whatever you're mixing for a cocktail, right? Now, that's a perfect place to infuse a little bit of herb and or floral flavoring into your cocktail without having residue or bits of things in your cocktail. So I'm going to show you how to do, I was hoping to do a basil simple syrup, but somebody in the house, who shall remain nameless, used my basil. So we're going to use mint. which kind of goes against this whole series of using savory herbs in sweets. Mint is a real typical herb in sweets, but just to show you the technique, I have mint, so that's what we'll use. So bear with me on that one. But a couple things on simple syrup. It's usually like 2 to 1 as far as ratio. So I guess that would be 2 to 1. I am terrible at math, but so like in the recipe I'm going to share with you today, it's 1 cup of water and a 1/2 cup of sugar. So if you were to do 2 cups of water, you would put 1 cup of sugar. So it's half, pretty much. Half of the sugar of the amount of water. That's kind of how you work a simple syrup. Pretty basic. Okay, so I've got my 1 cup of water and it's getting to a simmer. And I've got, today, I've got about like 2 tablespoons worth of mint. Now, there's a couple things you can do with your herbs in trying to get that infused in your simple syrup, okay? If you want to keep things easy for you, as far as, you know, not having to strain things or use cheesecloth, you can just throw these in, and the flavor will come out. And then you can just pull them out when you're done. You can chop it up, but then you're going to have to strain it. But you will get more of the oils into your infusion. So just keep that in mind. The other thing you can do is chop it up and then put it in some cheesecloth and tie that off. That could work as well. And then you just need to pull out the cheesecloth bundle when you're done with the infusing. So it's all up to you, but really I'm going to go easy here, and let's just all pretend this is basil for now. And actually, mint and basil come from the same family. Throw that in as it's simmering. So your fresh herbs have been simmering now. You have them simmer for like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes, and then you bring in your sugar. Sorry about that. You can see the color's already getting green. So you're going to simmer this till the sugar's dissolved. So that's been simmering for, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes. You're going to turn it off. And basically you cool this down. But before I cool it down, because I'm doing an infusion, if you were doing a simple syrup, just a plain simple syrup, you would let this sit and just cool down. But I want to get a little bit more mint going on in there. So, don't laugh, I don't have a matching cover for this little pan. So I'm going to put a Le Creuset top on there. But you're going to let that sit and move it off the heat and let the steam do its magic. And it's going to sit there and time it for 15 minutes. That's what I like to do. You could use a fork, tongs. This just was handy. It's not the most ideal thing. But when you leave things whole, see, and you see the oil streaks, that's the oil from the herbs. So all that yummy flavor is swirling around in that simple syrup. So now you leave it uncovered, you let it cool down to room temp, and then all you need to do is put it in some Tupperware, label it, and keep it in the fridge. And it could be good for 3 weeks. And, you know, there's a thickness about it. It's kind of syrupy. It's definitely not watery anymore. It's cooled down, so we'll just cover it up and label it. So, if you have been intrigued by any of my videos or tips, please go by the Herbal and Floral blog, savoringsweet.com, or please check out my e-cookbook, Savoring Sweet. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, iBooks. I think it will be on Goodreads real soon. It's on Kobo. It's on all those fancy e-readers. So please check it out. Thank you so much for your support and hanging out and baking some fun things with me and making some fun things with me. Good night.